In the world of business, it feels like everyone's chasing the same thing: getting better, right? A better product, a more efficient process, a happier customer. It's a constant, never ending quest. But the real question isn't if we should improve, it's how we do it. And that really is the $1,000,000 question. Do you swing for the fences, going for that massive game changing breakthrough that changes everything overnight? Or do you focus on making tiny, consistent improvements day in and day out? Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most powerful philosophies for improvement ever devised, one that absolutely champions the small step. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture, this universal quest for quality. Then we'll look at the two main roads companies take to get there. That's going to lead us straight to our main event, Kaizen. We're going to see how it works, who's using it, and finally piece together the puzzle of how it fits with those big, massive innovations. So, before we can really appreciate the power of all these small steps, we have to zoom out for a second. See, Kaizen doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's actually part of a much bigger philosophy, a whole framework called Total Quality Management, or TQM for short. So, what is TQM? Well, the core idea is pretty simple. Quality is everyone's job. It's not just one department's problem. And it focuses on three key areas: making your products and services better, making the internal processes that create them more efficient, and, this is a big one, building a company culture where getting better is just part of what you do every day. Now, inside this bigger quest for total quality, companies usually go down one of two main paths. And this is where we start to see a really fundamental split in strategy. On one side, you have breakthrough improvement. This is the big, dramatic, revolutionary leap. It's pure innovation. It's the scrap everything and rebuild it from the ground up mentality. But on the other side, you have continuous improvement, which you probably know as Kaizen. And this is a totally different ballgame. It's all about small, incremental steps. It's gradual, it's constant, and it's not about rebuilding the machine. It's about fine-tuning it, one tiny piece at a time. Okay, so let's zoom in and really focus on that second path. It's time to properly introduce our main topic for today, Kaizen.
The word itself tells you pretty much everything. It comes from two Japanese words, kai, which means change, and zen, which means good. So Kaizen literally translates to good change. And that's key. This isn't just change for the sake of it. It's a deeply held belief in always moving towards something better.
The backstory of Kaizen is actually pretty amazing. It really took hold in Japan after World War II, with companies like Toyota creating quality circles to fix problems on the factory floor. And here's a fun fact: a major influence actually came from American consultants, like the famous W. Edwards Deming, who really pushed for giving more power to the workers themselves. But it wasn't until 1986, with Masaaki Omai's huge book, that the idea really exploded across the rest of the world. I think Kaworu Ishikawa, one of the pioneers of quality management, just said it perfectly. Quality improvement is an ongoing process. The core idea is that you're never actually done. Improvement isn't some final destination you reach, it's the journey itself. So that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how does this actually work day to day? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the Kaizen system. Okay, so what you're looking at here, this is the engine of Kaizen. It's the Kaizen cycle. And this isn't about random ideas or lucky breaks. Nope. It is a structured, methodical, and this is the most important part, a repeating process for making things better. Let's walk through it. Step 1 is absolutely crucial. Get employees involved. Why? Because the people actually doing the work know it best. From there, you figure out what the problems are, you brainstorm some potential solutions, and then you pick one to test out. You run the test, you analyze the data. Did it work? If it did, fantastic. We make that the new standard way of doing things. And then you do it all over again. It is a nonstop feedback loop for improvement. Now, this whole cycle is fueled by a certain mindset. It's about always challenging the way things are. One of the most powerful tools here is the 5 whys. Instead of just slapping a Band-Aid on a problem, you keep asking why until you dig all the way down to the real root cause. Another huge idea? Look for cheap, simple upgrades. Kaizen isn't about giant budgets. It's about being clever and making small, smart changes that add up over time. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but where has it actually been put to the test? Let's take a look at Kaizen out in the wild. Look, no system is perfect, so it's important to see both sides. The huge upside of Kaizen is that it's a much kinder, gentler way to make changes, so people are less likely to resist it. It's amazing for morale and for cutting down waste. But it does have some drawbacks. Sometimes that initial excitement can fade if you're not careful. And more importantly, Kaizen might not be the right tool if your house is on fire and you need massive, urgent, radical change right now.
The list of companies that have struck gold with Kaizen is incredible. Toyota is the classic poster child, of course. It is the beating heart of their legendary production system. But it is so much bigger than manufacturing. Alan Mully used Kaizen principles to pull Ford back from the brink of total collapse. Lockheed Martin uses it to build fighter jets better, faster, and cheaper. And my personal favorite example, Pixar uses a form of continuous improvement in their creative process to make sure they don't make a very, very expensive bad movie.
So this brings us back to where we started. You've got these two different paths, the giant leap of innovation and the small, steady steps of Kaizen. So, which one is better? Well, what if that's the wrong question to ask? I love this way of thinking about it. Innovation is a rocket launch. It's a massive burst of energy that blasts you to a completely new, higher standard of performance. But here's the thing. Once you get to that new altitude, if you just sit there, you'll start to drift back down. Kaizen is the climb. It's the constant, steady effort you need to not only hold on to that new standard, but to keep pushing it even higher. And that is the absolute key takeaway. The most successful organizations don't choose one or the other. They use both. They combine those game-changing breakthroughs with a relentless, company-wide culture of making small, smart improvements day after day after day. They're not opponents, they're partners in the same quest for excellence. Ultimately, the principles of Kaizen aren't just for giant corporations. They apply to teams, to projects, and even to our own personal lives. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Looking at your own work or your own life, where's the one place a small, good change could make the biggest difference? Something to chew on.